So let's open the planning board, Town of Acton Planning Board meeting of March 7th. Calling to order at 7:05. And I would like to do is, Dennis, you will be voting tonight as Tom Cashin and Don are both absent tonight.
Does mean I get 2 votes?
No, and you don't get to be Ken either. Ken is also absent. So, anyway, we have a quorum with Dennis voting. So, approval of the minutes from February 21st. Both sides of the paper, well, that was a long night.
I have a question.
Yes.
There was a couple of things, everything that on Markel's thing in here, everything in here I addressed, but there was a couple of things that were missing that I had said. The comprehensive plan actually discourages development on certain roads, which is Youngs Ridge Road is included in that list of roads.
Is that not the 1991 Comprehensive Plan, Section 8?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, but it actually says it discourages development on that list of roads, Youngs Ridge being one of them.
Okay.
And I started by saying that I was concerned about the loss of wildlife habitat for the loons and snapping turtles. The loons do nest on the island and possibly on the shore where the development is proposed.
Just while we're on that subject, just to keep us clear where we are in the subdivision process, that we haven't accepted a sketch plan yet, so we're not even in sketch plan mode yet. We're in
The clock has
preliminary.
not started running.
Right, okay, just to keep that
Right,
clear.
right.
I make a motion we approve the minutes as amended.
Second?
I would just like to ask you to hold on a moment, because I don't believe we adjourned the meeting at 8:10.
Oh, no, I fixed that. I didn't make it on there. No, it was 2 hours and 28 minutes, so it was 9:28. Evidently, I didn't save it after I fixed it, I'm sorry. I went in and looked. It was
No,
2
because I
hours.
was, God, gee, I lost some time there.
Time was it?
Boy, we were fast.
9:28?
9:28.
Holy
It was
moly.
late, yeah.
It really was. Just to keep things on the up and up. Everybody realizes, well, I'm sorry, I'm running over your motion, Dennis, so
Go ahead. No, let you make the motion and then you can,
discuss it.
yeah.
Okay, anything?
Under the last item for agriculture, maybe we should just reference like the definition of agriculture, because that was what she really,
The definition.
Definition of agriculture is
Yeah.
what's in our book.
but she spoke to us about, her concern was primarily about the definition of agriculture, our agriculture definition.
Right, but I know that was her concern, but
You just have to add a couple words before agriculture in the second line.
yeah.
That would be okay, yeah.
Yeah, because that is one thing we have to remember, that we go by the definition in our books, not
Regarding the zoning,
definitions. Yeah,
no, the zoning definition of agriculture.
right, yeah.
Mhm.
We can't Google it and,
Right.
Webster Dictionary it. We are bound by that. And as I had said to her, since this is a matter now before the courts,
Mhm.
we have to be very careful. Also that, we do go over these and look at them for anything that grammatically, she was also worried about that.
So do you need a new motion, Joyce?
No, I'll take action on Dennis's motion, please. All in favor of accepting with the amendment? Any opposed? No, passes. Now, under old business, there, in your thing, this is not something, because it's not on our agenda that we can actually sit here and discuss, but I want to point this out to you. Gavin, you had asked for a yield plan review,
Yeah.
and it arrived by mail today. So I would like you all please to take it home and make yourselves, familiar with it. And that's as far as we can go on that, because it is not on our agenda. But please make yourself very familiar with it. And then the big thing we got in our book today, and this should be marked as a draft, but it is not, so just know this is draft. It's a checklist and applications manual. Ken wanted to have things, actually it came from the state, didn't it, checklists? No?
It came out, right out of the ordinance.
Right out, my mistake, right out the
Right
ordinance.
straight and bullet of the ordinance.
Yeah.
So you got everything in one.
Planning board checklists and applications. Now, there are some things like, when you're copying stuff, page numbers get out of whack and things like that in here that will be taken care of.
They will.
And, because Brenda knows it better than we do. But it's exactly what it says in this manual that we will all have. This isn't something that we have to check on, Our secretary will have one. And in Donovan's absence, somebody else can volunteer to do it, or I will take it on to do it. But conditional use, the first thing in the book, it's the thing we do the most, conditional use. And it's just what this is, the applicant, the location, the map and lot, and the proposed use, and then we can just follow down the entire list.
And these are all the things that we're obligated
these are our
to
obligations.
address. Every one of these things,
Yeah.
the ordinance
If I
obligation.
may, I need your help here, Melissa. This, for example, is a thing that we went over at the workshop.
Yeah,
I think you have white paper.
Yes,
Okay?
yes, that was early on, and it was kind of just to
Last
see if
week,
it works, if it flows.
or whatever it was.
Right.
And we went through this,
Was it,
and Mark some...
was it this one or the site plan review one?
There's two we went through, but
Oh.
we go through,
it was the,
I got it here.
Right, you handed out the
It
good
was,
neighbor policy.
Good neighbor
Well,
policy.
yeah,
Good neighbor.
Just to look at.
it was on this
Let's
one here.
Let's
Yeah.
see what we
That's what
did.
we did.
Right.
Yes.
The site
Well,
plan
that
review.
That was just the, going over what he needed to bring us the next time he comes here.
Oh, okay.
That's all that was.
I thought some of it was some changes that, looking through the zone notes and stuff, that
No.
was...
No, we were
Maybe
just going
recommended.
over what he would need to bring to us, just so he'd have all his ducks in a row.
You were kind of the guinea pig for the, for this
I appreciate
manual,
that.
Right.
just to see if it flowed well,
Yeah.
if it,
Okay.
Yeah.
So there
So
wasn't...
no, we weren't changing
there wasn't
anything on
no
it.
change at
Those
all.
weren't any changes,
And-
those were,
so actually, with every application you get, you have to address every one of these factors. It may be NA.
yeah,
And a lot of it wasn't.
And
Yeah.
a lot of it, yeah. So you already know that, you played with it a little bit.
Okay.
Yeah.
so anyway, the first section is on site plan. I'm sorry, not site, it is on the conditional use. The next one is site plan review. And we are required by our ordinances to address every single part of this. In some cases, it's pretty straightforward, it's pretty simple. In other cases, as in a site plan review, we have to go over every one of this, every single one of these. We have to answer, and, you know, if it's applicable, where is it applicable? And this one is the one that they're for, oh, no, that's subdivision.
And if your answer is no to one of those, then that will probably trigger some kind of a condition that you might impose that, because this is no, then we're gonna need that. You see what I'm saying? And this is why he thought that this would trigger a lot of,
Yeah,
Just a brief sentence of explanation about the verdict, so to speak.
yeah, and I,
well, yeah, but more you can put in, we can put in the condition we're setting
yeah.
in here.
Yeah.
You know, the one that I think of, where we put conditions are when we went out to Monarch Mountain and we had the noise and
Decibel reader, yeah.
the decibel reader, and we wanted to make sure that there was, you know, the traffic was between this time and this time. Even if it could have started at 6 in the morning, we didn't, because he's going through neighborhoods. The decibels could not be over this amount. And we could write that in there. There's nothing in here, just keep the decibels low, but we can make it a condition that this is what it's going to be. So, that sort of thing.
I think by looking through this, there's nothing you can change because it came out of the ordinance. But
Exactly.
if you think it, I mean, I took, there were a couple of places that there was required submissions and they were in 2 places. So what I did, so it's not always in the exact order of the ordinance. So what I did is I brought that second one down with the first one so that you've got it all in one place.
Yeah,
don't have to
if
look
you-
in different places.
right.
So there's no duplication.
Thank you.
No, it's not duplication.
Maybe that's the changes that I was talking about, you know, about
It might be.
changing stuff around. And I recall now,
Basically-
being a professional guinea pig, that I remember the whole process now, and it was for, like you said, it was for one of the applications for stuff they needed for the next step in the process.
Right.
And he wanted to go through everything to make sure he had asked
And what
for.
Ken thought is, up until now, he's been doing a lot of this when he does a plan review, but it really belongs here.
Yeah.
So, and that's why.
If you look at this one on the first page, required submission, preliminary list, and it could require further documentation. You see,
Exactly.
9 copies of the application, list of waivers required, abutters, bound report, 9 copies, stormwater erosion, et cetera, and on the other side, a survey, 1 inch to 100 feet, site access, emergency access, water, you know, the 2 things, and there could be more, but those are there, we know those. So we go through every one of these things.
Really, what I think is kind of sobering too, when you get to the subdivision portion, there's 4 levels there. It's, you don't realize how much you address until you have to put check marks.
Yeah, yeah. And if you see one of these that doesn't have a check mark, they just got dropped off. The final version will have the check mark on it. Yeah, this one right here, right?
Yeah, I don't know why they got.
It doesn't have a page number on it, and it doesn't have check, you know, boxes.
So some of that's going to have to be addressed here by the office, but if you do see something that, a typo or whatever, because what I did is, it was listed in the ordinance, but I made it as a true or false statement that you did receive this. So it doesn't match perfectly with the ordinance, but for the sake of the flow, I wanted you to have true, false, or yes, no, or whatever you decide to adopt.
This is definitely a lot easier.
Right. And like when we get to the subdivision review process checklist, I mean, this is extremely
And if you notice on the bottom in the footnotes, especially in the subdivision section, I put what section you're in, so
Right.
that if someone refers to, say, the preliminary portion of it, you'll know you're in the right section just by looking down at the footnote and see that you're in the preliminary. I tried to make it really,
Yes, thank you.
And then the final plan goes on. It is huge. So this will, I think this will make it so that we're not having to go back because we missed something.
and this way, you're keeping it consistent.
Yeah,
Everybody's subject
everybody's
to the
the same.
same.
The absolute same.
Mhm.
The other one, under the good neighbor, the design standard checklist, the lighting, the buffering, the noise, there's so many things in that we don't necessarily think of. But here it is in one place, you know. I just got asked a question recently about, does the town have any ordinances on fireworks? Isn't that a good neighbor issue? And,
Good neighbors usually for development.
it is usually more,
Yeah.
it usually is for development, but it actually does come under noise abatement.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, because there's what,
Yeah, there's even tools.
two
Yeah,
or
tools
three
are-
times a year you can
Yeah.
use fireworks.
right,
Oh, really?
yeah, oh yeah.
4th of July and Dennis's birthday.
I thought that was the
They
other one.
do them every weekend, that movie.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
I listen
every
to-
weekend.
I listen to it too, Leslie.
I
On the
mean,
lake, but I'm on the lake.
yeah, no, on the lakes, we get them
Every weekend.
every weekend, and Friday seems to be as good a day as Saturday, and only because people are going home.
At 2 and 3 o'clock in the
Sunday.
morning.
Yeah, yeah, I just,
We also, if you notice, some of the subcategories, the main categories say number 4, but it had many subcategories, so we made those A, B, C, D, so that if you say, number 4F is NA, those aren't in the ordinance, we just did that to make it easier to
Right.
follow along.
and one of the things that recently came up, and you all might be hearing it, especially I noticed it over here, I believe in subdivision, fees when people are coming here. And if you remember, we all saw the fee schedule with the budget thing,
The what schedule? Oh,
Fee,
schedule.
fee.
Yeah.
a couple, maybe a month ago or so. And it went upstairs and it was approved by the BOS. And today, this week, someone said, do you charge people for getting permits? And, so, yeah, and everybody pays the same amount. Absolutely not. Depending on what they're doing, and, somebody is putting up a new shed and on their property where they can put it and it fits everything, that's going to be probably not very much. You're putting in a subdivision, it's going to be a lot of money because there's so much that has to be done. So if any of you hear it, yeah, there are fees and they are approved by the Board of Selectmen. If you remember, we had suggested increasing some fees that actually our CEO didn't feel was necessary because we're still very much below some of the average fees for York County. So, but if you take this home and make this your new reading, and if you, and as we've done in the past, use a pencil, mark it up. If you think of,
Typos,
yeah,
we need it all.
yeah. grammatical errors, typos,
I'm not writing on that.
mis,
We're gonna give you a brand new one because I know there's a lot of mistakes in there,
yes,
so.
so,
You're gonna get
and
a
if you
brand
didn't
new
think
one.
of
So
an,
where do I look?
yes, you do.
And did you notice Christina put your name on?
I did not.
But if,
I like that.
yeah, if you go through it, did he spell his name, did she spell his name with one N or two?
I don't know.
Is it Denise Long or Dennis?
It's two.
Oh. But this will make things going forward very easy for us. Now, y'all, yeah,
Do we want to maybe have a checklist for best possible locations?
That might be.
Because it's not a conditional use, it's kind of a separate creature.
it is.
But it's good to, let me take a look at it.
Yeah, because
Why not?
it has been kind of a little bit of a stumbling block.
It
We're
can,
always like
right.
sorting through the ordinance to look for specific area references. And
Yeah,
Yeah,
it
because,
was,
I don't know why
the
not.
last one we did was.
Yes.
It's just, sometimes we end up reviewing it more than other times.
Right.
And if we just had, and if you wanted to look into it, that could be good.
I will definitely.
I think
I'd be curious to see if, I mean, because I think we're still gonna end up flipping through because, that there's such a wide variety of things that people wanna do.
There is, but you have your standards.
but this is,
Yeah.
these are exactly what's in the book. These are the standards.
Yeah.
And they're in one place.
Actually, not one. somebody-
This is great for like a sidewalk, I think.
Oh, I think-
What do I want to look at when I go on the sidewalk on
Yeah.
March 23rd? I'm like, well, read this thing and I'll bring it with me.
And because a lot of these, you don't use more than once or twice a year, so it's
Yeah.
not foremost in your mind in this way.
Site plan review, we haven't
Yeah.
done very many site plan reviews.
And that's what Ken said,
Yeah.
I think because it was so that's what started all of this. We said, let's see what site plan review really looks like. And by boiling it down, and he said, well, now can you do this one and this one?
Right.
Exactly.
But I think it was a good investment of time.
But from a layman's point of view, which I consider myself that, a lot of the stuff that you guys were talking about in the past, like trying to find the stuff in the book, as you guys are going, and I said, what page was that, what page was that, what page was that? And this is gonna make it a lot easier
Yeah,
to understand and keep up. It really is.
right.
I'm glad you like that. This should be part of your report.
Yeah, exactly, which is actually, unless anybody else has anything to bring up, last week was one of the longest, last meeting was one of the longest ones. This might be one of our shortest ones. On the 12th, I have to give our planning board chairman review to the Board of Selectmen.
Yeah.
And if you all remember, we did it, I think it was in November, we did one. And so what we, because I'm getting my buddy here, right-hand man, is we will use from the last date of the last report that I did, we will go into the spreadsheet and get everything we have done to that point and bring it forward. We will put in all of the changes that we have made that will go to be put on the warrant, the changes we've made, including the work we've done on the comp plan. And I think you're going to find we've done a lot of work. We did all land use, the lumber and that forestry, which is pretty much out of our hands now anyway. But, we'll report on that. We'll add this to it. And it is going to be on the 12th at the selectmen meeting. So any of you who don't go, if you would go, it would be very nice to see
When
you.
is this, next week?
The 12th, yeah, that's next week.
I'll be away, unfortunately, I won't be able to be there.
I found out today, I was down to the school. There's one finance committee member. I have a meeting with the school next week. They're presenting their budget to the Warren Finance Committee at 6 o'clock. But
The school's also supposed to present their report next Tuesday.
So,
It's planning board and.
I'll go probably from here to there, because you'll be in the first part of the meeting.
Yeah.
And just, and I didn't want to step on anybody's toes when it comes to the planning board. But as a Warren Finance Committee member, I was a liaison to the planning board. And we're 7, 8 months into the year. So at our last Warren Finance Committee, I said I'd like to get some updates on the different departments, on the liaison to what's been going on. And for the planning board, I said, everybody needs to know that the planning board has done an enormous amount of work above and beyond their regular meetings. I said they've gone through the zoning board, they've gone through, they've done their bylaws. I says they've done gone through the subdivision stuff, they've been working on the comprehensive plan. I says the planning board has just done an enormous amount of work. So I just threw that out there. It wasn't anywhere near detail like you're talking about.
Right, but as the liaison to Warren and Finance, it's good that you have that
You
information.
know what I mean? I want to get it out there to the public, because some people don't watch planning board meetings. Some
Right.
people-
They don't know all
you
they
know
can
what I mean?
do.
Yeah.
And I just want to be aware how productive, my opinion anyway, the planning board has been. And I compliment everybody on this board, how hard they worked and what's been accomplished in a short time.
Right, thank you.
It's unbelievable.
Thank you for singing our song. We all appreciate it.
What happened to the liaison from the Board of Selectmen?
He came once.
So is your report in place of that, or?
No,
No.
not at all.
The liaison, how often are they supposed to show up, or is there no guidelines?
It depends on your commitment.
Yeah.
I take, like being a liaison, like I always have, if I'm on a committee that you're a liaison to, I go to all the rec meetings.
You go to the road committee meetings?
I go to all the road committee meetings, and I try to go to all the selectmen's meetings. And obviously I'm here at the planning board, but I didn't realize until I was talking that night, somehow I got to end up being the liaison to 4 or 5 departments, so nobody else on the board seems to have that responsibility. They've got, some got 1, somebody's got 2, so whatever, it really does just depend on your commitment, because it is a volunteer thing, and
Right.
it's kind of like the people that report at these selectmen's meetings. We got a whole list of departments, and we have departments that have never reported, they've been asked to, and next week is Joyce's second time. And so it really depends on it. So what you're supposed to do is go through the whole town, so that supposedly on television, YouTube or whatever, everybody can see what's going on with the different departments. Bobby Mann did it. David Langley did it. Chris Whitman is the rec director, he did it. So it gives the general public some idea of what's going on, so that maybe there's a little less confusion. When somebody asks a question, or what have they been doing, or what do they do, or whatever. And it should make this government run simpler, I would think. So that it really does just depend on how committed you are to,
Yeah.
what you
To me, it's so important,
elected to do.
to me, it's very important, to the point that, I mean, I'll tell the whole world, I'll tell Acton, we have a brand new baby grandson. We went to Connecticut when our daughter and son-in-law got the call, the baby mom was in labor. They flew to Tennessee, and We went to stay with 2-year-old, and Mama stopped labor. They were there for 2 weeks. I started getting very nervous. I knew I had this coming up. I knew we had the special town meeting coming up. I also knew that my report was coming up, my committee report was coming up. I have found it so embarrassing to sit there, and they're looking for this committee and this committee, and no one shows up. And this committee and this committee, nobody shows up. And they put them off week after week after week. And I knew our report was due in March, but I didn't have my papers with me. I called Jennifer on Monday to find out if I was going to report on Tuesday past or Tuesday coming. Because we'd come home early. As it was, we came home in time to go to the meeting. Because to me, you can't do these jobs if you're not going to take it seriously. So,
And it is accepting responsibility.
and yeah, it's a responsibility, which is even why, unless you happen to be going to Tennessee or someplace else, any of you that can make next Tuesday's meeting, I would appreciate seeing your smiling faces sitting out there.
And believe it or not, I don't speak at every meeting.
You don't speak at every meeting.
I really,
Almost.
Oh, I was going to say,
Oh,
since January, maybe he's been twice quiet. Yeah, maybe.
that's good for me.
Yeah, that'd be good. But anyway, so, not to belabor any points, but we will get this done. What I'd like to do, I'll be working with Brenda on it, and what I would like to do is send you all an email of the report as soon as I can, as soon as we can do it. It may not be grammatically perfect or something like that, but you'll see what we're going to put in it. And if you see something that we can change quickly, you know, just let me know. Hey, did you forget we did this? Or, you know, mention that. That would be good. So. And just a fair warning, we have to have a new picture taken of us when we have everybody here. Yeah, because I
What the heck are
believe
you talking about?
we still have a picture up with Bob as chairman.
I thought that was taken off. I thought the picture came down.
Did it?
I think it did.
Right, we still need to do it, right?
We still
But we still need a new one.
Yeah.
For what?
But I don't, why do we
For the webpage,
For the webpage.
the selectmen said they wanted it on.
Huh?
Uh-huh.
A
I
list
think
of
so.
names doesn't work, huh?
No.
I don't
They have
know.
a policy on this?
I think it-
Policy for
I
everything.
think it was a request. I'm not sure.
You know how I am.
I do, yes.
We'd even let you wear one of your favorite shirts.
I remember when they started that now.
No, we couldn't, could we?
That's right, then I get to wear a shirt.
All right.
Battle of the shirts.
Battle of the shirts.
Should we say no political statements or? Or can we even do that?
I don't think we can do it.
That's not politically
I
okay.
think they're buying a new hat though.
I bet you are.
Yeah, the picture's gone.
Oh, good,
It is.
good,
Yeah. you don't need
I
to
didn't
have a
take
picture.
that down. I wonder who did.
good, good. But let's,
Yeah. Our names are on there.
Are they the right list of names?
Yes.
Oh,
oh,
good.
okay, good.
They even have
We'll go.
Donovan as executive secretary.
I wonder who did that. Maybe Christine.
Maybe Christina did that.
But the picture is gone.
Okay,
We're all
good,
set.
good.
We do need a new one though.
We need a new one, yeah. So, since it's 20 minutes of 8,
That's what we're gonna be doing.
No.
and what time, just to go over it, what time are we meeting on the 23rd? I know we have another meeting.
Oh,
What did we say?
It was 10 o'clock.
10
at
o'clock,
the-
I think 10 was the first one.
Right,
At the, what do we call that site?
Boise,
11th Street?
11th,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
11th Street.
Are we meeting here?
We can.
If you want to get your car.
You know.
I think people should should meet here because it is kind of like a loop. that
It's,
would-
yeah, it's.
There is a sequence that makes sense for people to go together.
Yeah,
Where you're doing 4 stops, maybe
Yeah.
it is better.
and carpooling is always better,
Yeah.
so.
And I do have a confession to make where I said something publicly last time. I told my wife about this date on the 23rd, and I says, I'm not gonna be available. And it was questioned. And my wife says, how many times do I have to tell you we're not going off away till after our anniversary?
Oh.
So apparently I'm available on the 23rd.
That's good. Glad to know you'll still be with
And I
us.
was afraid that Carol might say something,
Uh-huh.
and then I maybe not have to, I wouldn't tell the truth or something, so
I would like to entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second? All in favor? Thank you all very much.